Welcome to the dark and mysterious world of Chinese opium dens in the Victorian era. These dens were notorious for their blatant disregard for law, morality, and decency. Yet they attracted all kinds of people, from wealthy aristocrats to struggling artists, seeking refuge from the harsh realities of life. What went on behind those closed doors? How did these establishments operate? Join us as we delve into the dirty secrets of Chinese opium dens during one of the most fascinating periods in history. In the late 1800s, opium addiction was rampant in China. Poor working conditions and long hours led many Chinese laborers to turn to opium for relief. Opium dens were places where people could go to buy and smoke opium. These dens were often dirty and cramped, and sometimes had rats or other vermin crawling around. The Chinese government tried to crack down on opium dens, but they were often difficult to find and shut down. In 1839, the British government sent a diplomat, Lin Zexu, to China to try to stop the trade of opium. Lin Zexu confiscated and destroyed more than 2 million pounds of opium that was being traded illegally. This did not stop the trade of opium, however, and by the 1860s, there were an estimated 12 million addicts in China. The social impact of opium use in Victorian society was significant. Opium dens were seen as a source of crime and violence, and their patrons were often associated with deviant behavior. In addition, the use of opium was believed to be a contributing factor to the decline of the British Empire. At the time of the Victorian era, opium dens were a popular destination for both Chinese and Westerners in search of escape and excitement. For the Chinese, opium dens provided a place to relax and socialize away from the prying eyes of Westerners. For Westerners, they offered a glimpse into a mysterious and exotic world. Opium dens were often dimly lit and filled with smoke from burning incense. They were furnished with low tables and cushions for patrons to recline on while smoking opium through long pipes. The atmosphere was often described as dreamlike or hypnotic, and many people became addicted to the drug. Despite the dangers of addiction, opium dens remained popular until they were eventually outlawed in China in 1911. The Victorian era was a time of great change in China. The country was opening up to the outside world, and opium was becoming increasingly available. Chinese opium dens were places where people could go to smoke opium and escape the stresses of daily life. However, these dens were often dirty and dangerous places. Opium smoking was popular among all classes of society in China, but the poor tended to congregate in the more squalid dens. These places were often located in crowded, urban areas and were often run by criminal gangs. They were often filthy, with little ventilation and no sanitation. Smoking opium in these conditions was dangerous, and many addicts died from diseases such as cholera and tuberculosis. However, for many poor Chinese people, the risk was worth it for the chance to escape their difficult lives for a few hours. These dens were regulated by laws and regulations that were designed to control the use of opium. In China, the government passed a series of laws that restricted the sale of opium and required that all dens be licensed. In 1858, the emperor issued an edict that banned smoking opium altogether. This edict was largely ignored, and smoking continued in secret. In other parts of the world, such as Great Britain and the United States, laws and regulations surrounding opium dens were much less strict. However, there was still a stigma attached to these places, and they were often seen as dirty and dangerous. Chinese opium dens in the Victorian era were a seedier side of London life that few talk about. It was a place where people could escape and find solace, even if it was only temporary. The dark secrets of these dens still remain hidden today, but they offer a glimpse into what life was like during this time period. Although opium use has since been outlawed in many countries, there are still those who choose to partake in its use, albeit much more discreetly than before. Opium remains an integral part of Chinese culture, and understanding its history is essential for gaining insight into how it has evolved over time. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more great content. Also, make sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload from us.